Very good morning, students. Welcome to 11th standard physics class. Unit 7 Properties of Matter. We are learning the fluids topic. Today's video, you are going to learn Pascal's law and its applications. Pascal's law. This law was explained by French scientist Blaise Pascal. Pascal's law states that if the pressure in a liquid is changed at a particular point, the change is transmitted to the entire liquid without being diminished in magnitude. State Pascal's law. Pascal's law states that if the pressure in a liquid is changed at a particular point, the change is transmitted to the entire liquid without being diminished in magnitude. We know that if the fluid is at rest, the pressure is same at all points if they are at the same height. Okay, when the fluid is at rest, the pressure is same at all points if they are at the same height. So whenever there is a change in pressure occur, when the pressure changed, that change will be transmitted the entire liquid. This is Pascal's law. Let's see the applications of Pascal's law. One of the important application is hydraulic lift. Hydraulic lift you may have learned in the lower classes. This lift is used to lift a heavy load with a small force. Hydraulic lift is used to lift a heavy load with a small force. Let's see how the Pascal's law is applied here. This hydraulic lift consists of two pipes, two cylindrical pipes. This is A pipe and this is B pipe. Both are connected by means of a horizontal pipe. And this is filled with the fluid, liquid. Okay, this is filled with the liquid. Here, two frictionless pistons are fitted. One is in the pipe A, another one is in the pipe B. Okay, frictionless pistons which is used to apply the pressure. So in the pipe A, the area of cross section of the piston A1. The pipe B, the area of cross section of the piston is A2. Here, note the point A2 is greater than A1. Now, in this piston, if you apply a small force, what will happen? This piston will move downward. Okay. So when a small downward force is applied, let us consider the force as F1. Okay. When it is applied on the smaller piston, this will move downward. So what will happen? The pressure of the liquid gets increases. Okay. It has one pressure. This pressure at rest means it is same at all points. If the piston is moves downward, the pressure gets increases. And this increased pressure transmitted entire liquid in all directions. Okay. And it will create an upward force on the piston B. That is F2. Suppose when an object is placed above this piston B, consider a core which is placed above this piston. So when you apply a downward force here, this will change the pressure. This will increase the pressure in this liquid and it creates an upward force in this B pipe. So this B piston will move upward direction, that is used to lift this vehicle little higher. This is known as hydraulic lift. Here, when we apply a downward force F1, the pressure created, we can write it as pressure P is equal to pressure is equal to force per area. So F1 by A1. F1 by A1. Now, according to Pascal's law, this increased pressure will be transmitted in all direction. So, the pressure is exerted on the piston B, then upward force is created on the piston B. So, what is the upward force? F2. F2 can be written as P into A2. Force is equal to pressure into area. So, the pressure is P and the area of cross section is A2. Okay. Now, when you substitute the value of P in this equation, F2 is equal to F1 by A1 into A2. It can be written as F2 is equal to A2 by A1 into F1. A2 by A1 into F1. Understand? So here, when you change the force on the smaller piston A, the force on the piston B also been changed. It has been increased by an amount of A2 by A1 into F1. That is the factor increased as A2 by A1. Understand? By changing the force on the small piston A, the force on the piston B has been increased as A2 by A1 into F1. That means the factor of A2 by A1, the force is increased. And this term is known as, or this factor is known as, mechanical advantages of the lift. Mechanical advantage of the lift. So A2 by A1 is known as the mechanical advantage. Understand? So this is about Pascal's law. The next one is buoyancy. When a body is partially or fully immersed in a fluid, it displaces a certain amount of fluid. We know that, isn't it? So when there is a water, if you put an object there, there is a displacement of water around the edges of that object, isn't it? So the upward force exerted by a fluid that opposes the weight of an immersed object in a fluid is called upthrust or buoyant force. What will happen? Listen. So this is a container. It filled with water or any liquid. Okay. This is the level of the liquid. When you put an object, a ball or any sphere or anything, so when you put an object like this, what will happen? It will immerse in the liquid, either partially or fully. So this place, the water gets displaced. Okay. Here, there is weight acting downward direction. Weight of this object is acting downward direction. At the same way, there is an upward force exerted by this fluid to oppose this weight. Understand? The weight will be acting downward direction. The same way from the fluid, the force will be acting on this object. That is known as upward force or upthrust force. That force is known as buoyant force. Okay? Buoyant force. So, this phenomenon is called buoyancy. So, what is buoyancy? When a body is partially or fully immersed in a fluid, it displaces a certain amount of fluid. So, the upward force exerted by a fluid that opposes the weight of an immersed object in a fluid. So, when an object is put on a fluid, this object weight will be acting downward. The force will be acting downward. So, automatically then upward force, opposite force will be acting on that object that opposes the weight of an immersed object in the fluid is called upthrust. Thrust is nothing but force or buoyant force, and this phenomenon is called buoyancy. In continuation with that, we have to understand Archimedes principle. This also you may have learned in the lower classes. The scientist Archimedes principle. In the same case, the upthrust or buoyant force will be equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. This was explained by Archimedes. Okay, upthrust or buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced. Look at this figure. There is a container, it filled with the fluid, and an object is immersed on this fluid. So here either it is partially immersed or wholly immersed. What will happen? The weight will be acting downward. The weight of the object is acting out downward, and it experiences another one force, opposite force, that is known as buoyant force, that is upthrust force. Okay, so this force will be equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. Okay, this force will be equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it. Understand? So that is known as Archimedes principle. So listen, it states that when a body is partially or wholly immersed in a fluid, it experiences an upward thrust equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by it, and its upthrust acts through center of gravity of the liquid displaced. So upthrust or buoyant force is equal to weight of the liquid displaced. The next one is law of flotation. Flotation. We know that boats, ships, the wooden objects are floating on the upper part of the water, isn't it? So when we move on the upper part of the water, we can say it floats. So flotation means it is a tendency of an object to rise up to the upper level of the fluid, or it is a tendency to stay on the surface of the fluid. So what this law of flotation states? It states that a body will float in a liquid if the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body equals the weight of the body. So law of flotation, it states that a body will float in a liquid if the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the body equals the weight of the body. Example, an object, if it has the weight of 500 kilogram, floats in water. So it displaces how much amount of water? The same amount of 500 kilogram of water. Understand? If an object weighs 500 kilogram, floats in water, that displaces the 500 kilogram of water. So far we have discussed about Pascal's law and its application. The important application is hydraulic lift. That's an important question. Then short answers like buoyancy force, the phenomenon of buoyancy, Archimedes principle, and law of flotation. Some examples are given. Examples of floating bodies. A person can swim in seawater more easily than in river water. Okay, a person can swim in sea water more easily than in river water. Second example, ice floats on water. Third example, the ship is made of steel but its interior is made hollow by giving it a concave shape. Actually, the sea water has more density than river water. So objects floats better in the dense surface. Okay, so a person can swim in the sea water more easily than river water. And here ice floats on water. Ice is 9% less dense than liquid. So the liquid has more dense and the ice will float on the water. And the third point explains the ship has to float means its interior should be made by a concave shape. Listen here in your book. Submarines can sink or rise in the depth of water by controlling its buoyancy. It's given. That is, submarine can sink or rise in the depth of water by controlling its buoyancy. For that, submarines have ballast tanks that can be filled with water or air. Submarines tanks, ballast tanks can be filled with water or air. Alternatively, when the ballast tanks are filled with air, the overall density of the submarine becomes lesser than the surrounding water. Okay, submarine's density, overall density becomes lesser than the surrounding water and it surfaces. That means positive buoyancy. If the tanks are flooded with water, replacing air. First we listened about the tanks filled with air. Now suppose the tanks are flooded with water, the overall density becomes greater than the surrounding water. So the submarine begins to sink. This is known as negative buoyancy. So to keep the submarine at any depth, tanks are filled with air and water. That is known as neutral buoyancy. So if the submarine is filled with air, it floats. It surfaces. That is positive buoyancy. If the submarine's tanks are filled with water, it sinks. The overall density becomes greater. So to keep the submarine at any depth, at a particular depth, tanks are filled with air and water. That is known as neutral buoyancy. So next topic is viscosity. Actually, the behavior of fluids we are learning. First, the behavior of fluids at rest we have discussed. Okay. Now we are going to learn the behavior of fluids in motion. The viscosity, what is meant by viscosity? It is nothing but a friction. Simply we can call it as friction. Okay. The property of fluid to oppose the relative motion between the layers. What is viscosity? It is defined as the property of fluid to oppose the relative motion between the layers. That is, it is the internal friction existing between the layers of a moving fluid is viscosity. Internal friction existing between the layers of a moving fluid is viscosity. When an object is at the contact with the surface, we will have a friction, isn't it? So here, when the fluid moves, when it is moves related to a solid or when two fluids move related to each other, there will be a frictional force occurs. That is the resistance. The resistance to the motion is friction, isn't it? So resistance to fluid motion is similar to the friction produced when a solid moves on the surface. So this is about viscosity. Listen, there is an activity given in your book. Consider 3 steel balls of the same size dropped simultaneously in 3 tall jars, each filled with air, water and oil. Okay, 3 jars filled with, one jar is filled with air, one jar is filled with water, one jar is filled with oil. So the steel balls are dropped. It moves easily in air, isn't it? When the steel balls dropped in the air jar, it moves easily. but not so easily in water. Moving in oil would be even more difficult. We know that in the water it goes little slower than air, and in the oil it goes very slower than the water. So there is a relative motion produced between the different layers of the liquid by the falling wall, which causes a viscous force. This frictional force depends on the density of liquid. This property of moving fluid to oppose the relative motion between its layers is called viscosity. I think you have understood the concept of viscosity. Next, cause of viscosity. Cause of viscosity here, a liquid is flowing through a horizontal surface. So there are different layers. We can have an upper layer and lower layer. Actually, the fluid is moving in this direction means the upper layer turns to move in this direction. Upper layer turns to accelerate the lower layer. Okay, and in turn, lower layer turns to retard the upper layer. So what will happen? There is a backward force is set up. So this turns to destroy the relative motion. That accounts the viscous behavior of fluids. So when there is a relative motion between the different layers, viscous force occurs. Understand? The next one is coefficient of viscosity. So consider a liquid flow over a horizontal layer. Okay, so this is considered a layer which is fixed layer, and another two more layers we have to consider. This is the layer B and this is the layer A. So layer B is at a distance x from the fixed layer, and the distance between A and B is dx. So the layer A is at a distance of x plus dx from the fixed layer. Okay, so the A and B are the two parallel layers. So the velocity of these layers we can consider as the velocity of the layer B is of the fluid is v, and the velocity of fluid at the layer A is v plus dv. Actually, the velocity will increase when it is moved away from the fixed layer. The velocity of the fluid get increased when it is moved away from the fixed layer. Now, there is a viscous force acting between these two layers. Okay, the viscous force direction will be in this direction. So we can say the F acting tangentially between the two layers. Okay, tangentially between the two layers. Now, this force is proportional to the area of this liquid and the velocity gradient. So we can write the force is proportional to area of the liquid A. Area of the liquid, and this force is proportional to the velocity gradient, can be written as dv by dx. Velocity gradient. Change of velocity with respect to the distance, that is known as velocity gradient. So this can be written as F proportional to A into dv by dx. When you remove this proportionality, we should introduce a constant. So we can write F is equal to eta A into dv by dx, where this eta is known as coefficient of viscosity. The constant of proportionality eta is known as coefficient of viscosity. When you are writing this force, actually we have to put a minus sign. Minus eta A dv by dx. Why this minus sign? This is a frictional force. Always it opposes the relative motion between the layers. Okay. That's why in the diagram I have drawn the force direction the opposite. opposite direction. This is the fluid motion, this is the viscous force. So eta can be written as eta is equal to minus F into dx divided by A into dv, isn't it? So when you are writing the dimensional formula for this coefficient of viscosity, we will get it as m L power minus 1 T power minus 1. That is the dimensional formula for force is m L T raised to minus 2, mass and acceleration. Dimensional formula for dx is L, the length dl, and dimensional formula for area is L square, and dimensional formula for velocity is L T raised to minus 1. So if you simplify this L square, so L square L get cancelled, only one L is there, the denominator, so we can write m L power minus 1, and T power minus 2, T power minus 1 get cancelled, we will get T power minus 1. So this is the dimensional formula for coefficient of viscosity. We have considered the liquid flow. The layer 1 is fixed at the bottom, and two layers, parallel layers, have considered A and B at a distance of x and x plus dx. The layer B is at a distance x, layer A is at a distance x plus dx, and the velocity of the fluid is the layer B is v and the layer A is v plus dv, because the velocity gets increased when to move away from the fixed layer. So automatically there is a relative motion, the viscous force occurs. This force is proportional to area of the liquid and the velocity gradient dv by dx. So we can write F proportional to dv by F proportional to A, F proportional to dv by dx, F proportional to A in dv by dx, F equal to eta into A into dv by dx. So eta is coefficient of viscosity. Okay. So dimensional formula for eta is m L power minus 1 T power minus 1. Okay. Today we have discussed state Pascal's law in fluids, state Archimedes principle, what do you mean by upthrust or buoyancy, state the law of flotation, define coefficient of viscosity of a liquid. Okay. So 5 short answers we have discussed. Then the long answer, state and prove Pascal's law in fluid, that is with a hydraulic lift we have to explain, and state and prove Archimedes principle. So these questions try to learn. Thank you, friends.